at that time with
Sorry.
this production team. Shoki, let's hire new people.
PRBN 10-year anniversary, 2018, take one.
My name is Libe. I am a director at the PR and Brand Network, my agency. 2018, we were still working. Our office at the time was still at Waterfall, and we were meeting new clients. I think at this time we were being comfortable with servicing clients on a retainer. We had a year, 2-year contracts, 3-year contracts here and there. And I think it was also a fun time in that there were a lot of events. And in the same year, that's when I hired a lady called Pindi. Pindi, who is currently one of my best friends. Pindi started working at the agency when we did a huge event at Zoo Lake, and it was fun since. And I think that is when I started seeing the value of having experienced and senior staff. That it was nice that things, they just come in and plug and play. It was smooth in that sense. And I think the eventing element of PR and Brand Network really grew. We got busy in that space. We did events for mention brands. I don't like mentioning brands, but today I will. We did events for Coca-Cola Beverages South Africa, for SABIP, which is the South African Institute for Black Property Practitioners, South African Property Owners Association. And at the time we worked on a lot. We worked with a lot of other companies in the property space, quantity surveyors, architects. And at the time, I was literally living in my suitcase. I did events in Johannesburg, in Pretoria, in Durban, in Cape Town as well. I used to throw big parties in Cape Town at that time, under the agency and as a freelancer as well. And in 2018, I looked at what the business was looking like. As I said, there was an element of maturity that was picking up. I also then decided to switch up the name of the business, because Fun and Class for me, where Fun and Class actually comes from, was at varsity. I was always a liker of things. So I was very pedantic about the things that I would do. So I wouldn't go out at varsity, believe it or not. I preferred to drink inside my flat. So I wouldn't go out, and every time people would ask for us to go out, I would ask if it's classy. So if people would come to my room and say, let's go have fun, I would ask, is it classy? So my friends ended up coining, oh, Mr. Fun and Class, we can't go out because it's not fun and classy. That's how Fun and Class came about. And that's how I got to register the business, because when I registered the business, they needed names. And because then everybody was Fun and Class, I just used the name Fun and Class. So I said, Fun and Class is really, let's go have fun and be classy, but now we're making meals, we're being serious. And I thought, let me switch it up. And then I looked at all the possible names, LM Communications, Swiss Media. I was like, I didn't like all of those. And then I had just finished also comfortably at Vega, completed everything that I was doing with Vega School of Brand Leadership at the time. At that time, we were being very minimalistic with branding. So I looked at both qualifications that I have. I said, I have a public relations qualification and I have a brand innovation qualification. And then I said, that's a business. That's literally what I do. And I took PR and brand and put it together. It actually had to be PR and brand communications or PR and brand media. And then I said, it's gonna narrow me. But then because I've become so social and so popular in the business space that I was playing, in the medical PR, health, lifestyle, property space, everywhere, I had become that guy that does PR. So I said, I built my business on network. That's when I put the name network. I said, PR and brand network. The email address was very long, but I had to make it work. So that's when PR and brand network came. And at this time, I was naming my price. It wasn't by chance anymore where I would just invoice. Now I knew my value. I don't know who stole Making Meals. Making Meals is very personal because Shoki's making me laugh. Shoki. Making Meals comes from a very sad story, actually. When I was at varsity, I didn't have food. Literally didn't have food. And I used to go hop in friends' rooms for food. Sometimes they give me, sometimes they wouldn't. because sometimes I wouldn't have enough money because my money from working in retail paid my rent. So I literally didn't have food because I would take all the money from retail and pay rent and use it to get to school. And then I saw people become uncomfortable. And then I used to live on the Vidbix and milk. And sometimes I'd dilute my milk. Or sometimes I'd change my flavor and put sugar in my Vidbix. So it was a food situation, and I saw my relationships with my friends. People are weird, but in their fairness, they didn't owe me food. So at the time, I decided to myself, I'm going to make my own meals, irrespective of how horrible they're going to be, but I'm going to make my own meals. I'm not going to ask anybody for food. So everything that I would do, and then I started doing promotions. I did promotions for Celsi, for MTN, for Telkom, and everywhere I'd go, I'd remember, even if I was partying, I just remember I need to go make meals because I don't have my own meals. So it was always embedded at the back of my head, and came the social media frenzy where hashtags came into play. It became my personal hashtag making meals, because I knew what it meant. It was my personal driver to literally, it was in the literal sense, go get food, go make meals. So that's what it was. And I used to tag it on my personal pages, and the PR and brand network people stole it. I saw it everywhere. I need to sue them. Yes, that's where making meals comes from. I was clear in 2018 that I need to make money at a crazy level, because I also saw the hype. A lot of people will say, we don't know what happened, we just got you. I saw the attention. I saw the excitement about the new kid on the block. I saw the hype around who's this, who did this, and the referrals also came, and I made sure that I'm catching all of them. So also the drive was to deliver a high level of that there's no room for jokes, which is also frustrating in running a business, that people don't see the vision. People don't understand what you're driving at. So it was always to complete one, at excellence, two, to deliver beyond anybody's expectation, and three, I thrive when I deliver excellence, and I love it. I love show-stopping moments. So that really has always been the drive. I don't like, yeah, that's why. I like, who the hell is that? That's how I live. That's how I dress. That's how I feel. That's how I live. Yeah. In 2017, had a lot of gigs outside of Johannesburg. I worked in Mpumalanga, I worked in Cape Town, I worked in Durban, and I was in Port Elizabeth for 4 months. And I was lecturing at the time. So I was in PE Monday to Thursday. Thursday morning, I was on flight to Pretoria, to Joburg. Lecture Thursday, Friday, fly back in the evening to PE. So that was my life for 4 months in 2017. So then from there, it's into Mpumalanga, into Limpopo, into Durban. So I was on the road. I remember in 2017, I think I bought a car in 2017, and I only met it after 6 months. It was in my garage, I never saw it. So yeah, it was a busy month out of town, it was good. And 2018, the transition was I needed to be more invested and more for the business. One, as a strategist, and two, as a creative, yes. And to also now really, really refine what the PR and brand network is. I've just rebranded. There's a lot of noise around the business itself. There's a lot of growth, and growth is also uncomfortable. Growing pains, literally, where people start calling you expensive. People start calling you a lot of things that you cannot even try to comprehend, but your eyes on growing the business itself. So in 2018, the transition was very personal. I had to stop lecturing, which is my passion. I'm going back to lecturing when I finished doing this thing here where the Simisos and the Palesas and the Showcase of this world and the Tandos take over the business. I'm going back to lecturing. That's my retirement plan. So I had to stop lecturing. I had to stop doing other freelance work because I had to channel my energy into all of the business's growth now with a new ID, and also not just be the face of the business, but also to be the leader of the business. And yeah, that was a transition in 2018. Challenges in 2018, do you want the truth or a lie? I overspent in 2018. No, don't put that on camera. 2018, I can say a lot of business people need financial training at some point, because sometimes it's too little money, sometimes it's too much money, and you are not planning properly. So I had a little financial in 2018, really from recklessness. nothing crazy. And I remember buying an asset in 2018 and having to sell it because I was just splurging. And also I think the financial education had to start earlier. I still think I'd be in a better place, but hey, I'm still great. But the financial education, I felt like it was lacking. And also at the time, it was just growing. That was the only hurdle. And that's when I started interacting with a lot of entrepreneurs. I think the interaction with a lot of entrepreneurs actually helped because in 2018, that's when I would chat for long hours with people that I can say, one day I will celebrate them because they helped me stay in the business. Because in 2018 and how my business had always grown, it was always comfortable. But in 2018, I started feeling pinches because if I was able to spend 100 Rand, I was now spending more than that. And sometimes I just spending, hoping it will just land. And it wasn't really landing because also the prices had gone high. Networking with other entrepreneurs really helped me push, where I heard people who'd been running their businesses for a period of 20 years or so complaining about what it looks like. Then it motivated to say, I've just been here for a little bit. So here we are 10 years later from that support that I got in 2018, and I don't spend money as recklessly anymore. In 2018, the name change was a great success because also it got more serious. Even the clientele that we started servicing became serious. We went from, third party, PR, we got more serious. But in the seriousness of it as well, I think that's when we started managing talent. In 2018, that's actually the year we started managing talent. I met an actress who's become a close friend of mine, Rami Chwene. We met at a wedding. We were sitting on a cooler box. There was one bottle of gin. Excuse me if you see this. There was one bottle of gin left in the cooler box, and we were the only people that were aware it's there. It was around 3 a.m. People were out of drinks, and she sat on the cooler box, and I had planned to sit on it as well, that nobody opens it, and to then disappear with it. And she sat on the other end. It was a big cooler. She sat on the other end, I sat on the other, and we had the chat to say, how do we disappear with this? Because it was a destination wedding, and there were no drinks. So we ended up disappearing with the bottle and sharing it. And fast forward to what do you do? And I became her public relations, brand manager, and everything for so many years. But we're still quite close friends. And then from Rami, we were introduced to a lot of others. Zikhona Sodlaga, Moshendiki, Vuyo Ngugani, Zanande Mfengane was also another close one. Dino Mweketsi, Clema Wisa. Well, we manage a lot of people in the creative space, actors, MCs, singers, actresses. We worked in that space, and that's when I think we opened a pool to the entertainment PR space, and that was a growth, really growth, because that also was very, it brought in a new stream of income. Clover Crush Goodness campaign. It was such a smooth relationship. We were not even the main agency because I had talent. We just partnered and we did a lot of work for Clover, and we started traveling again. We worked on Clover at the time with Rami, with Dineo, Ranaka. Dineo Mweketsi came in later. Tembi Siete, Moshe as well. I forgot who else, but we worked on Clover. Clover was good. Clover Crush Goodness was a good campaign. At the time, even the ability to make such decisions, to contribute to such creativity that also included a huge CSI element, because the year after that, they then partnered with Toffees because it was a school's initiative. So the CSI bit also spoke to my heart. So it was just easy to do it because I love children, man. I don't have any, but yeah. I wasn't really competing. I was just using the other guys as benchmarks and guidelines. Competing is a bit strong, but I made sure that we look good. The people that work at the agency look good. I think for as far as I can, I try to really take care of people that work at the agency. My employees' well-being, I make sure they're good. Because when people are good, they perform. That's really what I live by. They may choose to differ, but it is what it is. What should this song? 2018, I think the brand change. The brand change, because sometimes when you change your brand name and your brand identity, some people run away. They feel like it's too big a change and stuff. I think the brand change actually grew the business and also grew me. I think my growth as a businessman and also my relationships with the other entrepreneurs and the people that became my mentors. In that year, I was a roller coaster myself. I think I also celebrate that I went there, that I allowed myself to also go there, because I'll never go there. I'll never be reckless with money like that. Will never is a big word, but I wouldn't want to. And in 2018, the growth also came with me being able to have business conversations without being boastful, but with really seeking to understand and hear how others think. And that was a growth year for me as a businessman to actually be able to contribute to my own decisions and also to have the board meeting by myself and walk into the room and make great decisions to grow the business. So they're growth. So I wouldn't spend money like that. I would still change the name, the company's name. I would not have bought one of the cars that I bought in 2018. That was an unnecessary exercise. So yeah, it's really financial education that I would like to punt for that year. It was a wild year, yeah. That's it. I used to chop my money. Hi, Pindy! My daughter masters are from Italy.
Who showed them off?
They're from Italy, they have to be seen. No, nobody has them. Hey!
Also,
Who's that?
We're rolling, where? Nah. Come in. In 2018, I'm growing in this fashion. This is my rate and I'm sticking to it. I was almost done!
You're on the roll.
Okay, cool.
you don't have to clap.
Let him clap! Let him clap!
Okay, it's okay.